Hi, this is the African American Atheist, and today I want to jump into a conversation I recently got into regarding spirits, souls, ghosts, and the paranormal, and I guess how it relates to religion and atheism. So the discussion that was had was with a well-educated individual who was actually an educator, which is scary in its own right, but it also sheds light on another unspoken issue that, that being that one's credentials or education level is never an indicator on exactly how calibrated their reasoning and critical thinking skills are. And that's extremely relevant because as an atheist, or for anyone who's typically philosophically opposed to a concept in a discussion, you always come across or are put in front of individuals whom are touted as well-educated, and thus the sentiment is that their stance or worldview has immediate merit. And this is a fallacy, and it should never be played into. I've had conversations and debates with practicing physicians that did not believe in the facts of biological evolution, yet their discipline and knowledge base only exists and continues to progress because of the advances in evolution by way of molecular genetics and things like bioinformatics. So, hence, they're really arbiters of evolution, don't even realize it. And this is the type of strange dichotomy and cognitive dissonance that exists within religion and belief of a God that needs to be called out for what it is. And even for myself, many would consider myself well-educated. I'm college-educated. I've had fruitful careers in science research and the like. But it's not about that. It's never about that. It's always solely about the merit of the argument only, and whether it's testable and falsifiable and internally consistent. So, back on topic, the discussion I had, about spirits and souls and ghosts, it was entertaining. And ultimately, it distilled down to an argument by the religious individual that all living creatures have spirits and souls, but yet spirits and souls, could not be defined. So that sort of, begged the question on whether does a tick have a soul? Do cancer cells have souls? Does the herpes virus have a soul? Does mildew have a soul? Does your dog or cat have a soul? Does the fungus that causes jock itch, that's a living entity, does that have a soul? Or is it only humans that have souls? I'm still waiting to get a clear answer and rationale for that. What determines if a living creature has what's called a soul from the religious perspective? Do chimpanzees have souls because they're 99% similar to us? Or is it only humans that have souls? And better yet, there's been various forms of human primates on the planet over the past few 100,000 years. Did they have souls, or is it only Homo sapiens that have this luxury? So there's a whole bunch of topics floating around on a pretty much a simple statement and a simple issue, and they can't be overlooked. Another point brought up in the discussion was the concept of ghosts and the individual recounted experiences where they were allegedly haunted by ghosts. Obviously, I don't believe in ghosts, but one of the points I wanted to bring up, because the individual defended the ghost concept, with such passion and fervor, is that it's truly my belief that those who claim to be haunted by ghosts and poltergeists are always none other than those who possess a predisposition toward believing in the fanciful and supernatural. So what I mean by that is meaning that even if they claim to be afraid of the ghost or whatever this entity is, or would rather it cease to exist as per their claims, subconsciously I feel they would want nothing of the sort. And this is pretty much true for all religious followers. Subconsciously, they're really fascinated and drawn to the idea of ghosts and the paranormal. They're fascinated and drawn closer to it because as long as they feel that they're experiencing a haunting or some kind of situation involving that, they really can perceive themselves as enduring something that verifies the very existence of the supernatural realm and of a possible afterlife, and by a stretch of logic, they can say a God, right? So, therefore, touting belief in ghosts and the paranormal is nothing but an admirable disguise and shortcut to publicly admitting and touting belief in an unverifiable, invisible God. It's also unsettling that most who believe in a supernatural realm will argue to the very end that they know for a fact that these things exist, but then somehow they go ahead and then make a statement that these phenomena are outside the realm of logic, scientific evidence, and testability. But on the flip side, the instant they read or hear about some obscure case where paranormal or supernatural activity was allegedly investigated and verified by a so-called researcher, they quickly latch on and exclaim, something like, "See, it was proven by science that it's possible for these types of supernatural things to exist." So again, that illustrates the dissonance again, and that illustrates to me that those who believe in a supernatural realm, those who believe in a God, those who are religious followers, etc., overtly they will always claim faith and shun evidence. But secretly, they really yearn for real evidence for their struggling claim of the existence of those things. And they will rarely, if ever, admit that. So as long as no evidence is the status quo and no evidence exists, their stance can align itself and say that, okay, the concept of God and the concept of ghosts or whatever it is that they're defending is outside the realm of science and testability. You can't apply reasoning to it, et cetera, et cetera. They'll stand by that and use it as their shield. So this is irrational, folks, and it's another form of another one of the differences between the atheist and the believer of a God, so to speak. It has to do with falsifiability. The believer of a God is permanently squatting in a realm of unfalsifiability, and honestly, they already know it.